Hi guys, I'm Dan. Just a quick few videos really to highlight my concerns about us leaving Europe, because I do believe that the vote is heavy towards the Brexit campaign at the moment, and being a UK citizen myself and a working class man, I would like to air my concerns because I genuinely fear us leaving the European Union. Current arguments for and against departure of the European Union work on three key points, and those three key points are immigration, political powers within our nation, and the economy. So what I'm going to do is compile three short videos, hopefully not too long, highlighting the key points that have been raised and giving not my opinion but the facts I'm aware of as to the reasons why I believe that we should stay within Europe. It's really, really important for the future of this country and for your future and your grandkids' future to stay part of the global political structure and the global power structure, not just the economy. We're not just talking numbers here, and we're certainly not talking about immigration at all. I don't even understand how that has even become an argument, except for the fact that people are utilising other people's fears, trying to manipulate information and manipulate the basic instincts of a human being, really, in regards to decision making. So I hope that you can all take a bit of time to watch these video shorts. There won't be amazing editing or anything like that in this, and there might be a tad bit of rambling, but hopefully not. I will work on the key points, and as I said, I'm just a concerned citizen in the UK who is absolutely terrified of us leaving the European Union, because I understand on a grander scale, probably more than I should, how that is going to negatively affect every single last member of this country. That's from right the way up to all the way down, and I promise you, I am really one of the lower members in society as such, economically. I don't believe I'm a lower person, but I'm certainly a lower in an economic status. So, quick introduction, and we're going to get to it. So in regards to immigration, the Brexit campaign argues that we receive a large volume of immigrants from Europe, and they put a massive strain on our economy. In reality, they do completely the counter of that, and they support our economy. They fill key positions such as nursing and doctors and other skill gaps that are important to support our economy, and also in the working class, like myself, in construction and other skilled jobs that we don't have enough skilled labour force for. And if you look at figures for the skilled labour force within the UK, you'll find out that we have very, very low levels of skilled workers within the UK compared to other European nations. So that's a key factor. We need those people to come into our country to work for us. And although they do apply a strain on the NHS and other services, they also help fund those services with the taxes that they pay through their employment. The volume of people that come into the UK from Europe that actually go on things like our benefit system is very minimal, and if you compare those figures to people from the UK who are actually on the benefit system, I think you'll find that more of us who were born and raised in the UK use that system than those that come into the country. Most of them are coming as economic migrants to work. So the argument is very, very weak. Another key argument on immigration is the non-European Union nationals, people who have sought out asylum within the UK, within Europe, sorry, and their ability to then from Europe migrate into the UK. This is quite a weighty issue, And there's quite a lot of detail to and a lot of facts involved in this, which I won't review, but I will post a link with this video that you'll be able to see, to be able to gain more insight into that, because I promise you, these people cannot migrate to the UK more freely from Europe at this current moment in time. And I do believe that if we were to leave Europe, those constraints upon their migration into the UK won't be as effective if we are not a member of the EU. So what happens when somebody becomes a refugee within the European Union, as a first point? Well, they are allowed freedom of movement within that nation, the nation in which they gained refugee status. But just like in the UK, Germany, Hungary and other nations that hold refugees in large numbers require the individual to gain citizenship within that country before they can freely migrate between the other European nations. So unless they illegally migrate, which us being in the European Union or not will have no effect on that factor. Legal migration only comes from the people. It can only be given to people who are allowed citizenship, and citizenship normally takes a period of time, and also an investment in the knowledge of the native language, and also cultural knowledge as well, to help integrate those individuals into the society in that country. So with that kind of investment and time spent, then more often than not, those people that gain that citizenship decide to stay within the country that they've invested all that effort and all that time and all that knowledge into. So learning another language again, in addition to the language that they've learned, for example, can be quite difficult. So the idea that we'll have a whole crew of immigrants migrating over the borders into the UK whilst we're members of the European Union is just completely ludicrous. And as I said, there's a link with more information on that. In addition to that, this fear-mongering that the Brexit are using at the moment, saying that like we've got a whole load of jihadis coming from Syria and so on. Not every Muslim, for starters, is a jihadi. The majority of people that have left their countries are women and children, not men. And those men that have come over as well, they're all leaving the country because they're scared of being there, not because they want to bring war to our door. So I would really take that information with a pinch of salt. Jihadis will find ways and means to either infiltrate the country after a long period of time and already have citizenship or have fake passports and stuff, which, to be honest, we're not going to be able to control that regardless of being in the EU or not. We'll actually have more support if we're in the EU, because we'll be able to have easier tracking of these individuals with shared intelligence as part of our political agreements, as being part of the European Union. So another argument holds absolutely no weight, and it's sheer fear-mongering. So, fear-mongering aside, what support are we getting from the European Union in regards to the refugee crisis across Europe? The first point is the current agreement with Turkey for repatriation of said refugees back to their home nations or somewhere within Turkey itself, in a Muslim nation where they'd be more comfortable, from countries such as Italy, Greece and so on. This is a healthier alternative for the refugees as well as it is for Europe. So it definitely has some benefits, because it's going to prevent those individuals in countries such as Greece or Italy, where there's very minute Muslim communities, wanting to eventually migrate to the UK, where there is a larger Muslim community and they would feel more comfortable. So that is one benefit that might not hold as much weight if we are not part of the European Union. I'm sure that these refugees, if they wanted to, would find a way around that, and if they're not, if the European Union isn't giving us as much support, then it'd be far easier for them to find ways through the European Union or around the European Union to gain access into our country. So that is a massive key factor worth considering. Also, Calais. Need I say no more? We through the European Union and through talks with France on a one-to-one basis, came up with the strategy that we would have a refugee camp on the other side of the English Channel of refugees that are literally trying, their sole purpose in life is to try and make their way into the UK. This is a European Union initiative that allows us a lot more breathing space in the numbers of refugees that come over to our country. And okay, yeah, there's a slight bleed over of those refugees, but I promise you now, if we were to liberate ourselves from the European Union, then the support that we get currently from, say, the French Coast Guard and French officials would certainly wane. If they did manage to find a way onto the English Channel, I'm pretty sure it would be our Coast Guard and not the French Coast Guard that would be chasing after them, and we would have to bring them back into British shores, because we won't have a political agreement with France to be able to repatriate them back to Calais. So that is a real concern and a real fact. Why the European Union is important to us on key points of immigration, which is quite the opposite, in fact, than the way it's being presented. So let's look at some other factors of immigration whilst we're on the subject. Immigration is migration, and migration goes both ways, and we repeatedly, as British citizens, migrate to other parts of Europe, whether it's for lifestyle choices or for work benefits. People's careers are have better opportunity if they're abroad in other nations. Also, the employees might be a multinational company and they're asked to migrate within that company into other nations. Though, especially on that fact, actually, while I raise it, if we are not part of the European Union, we don't have the freedom of movement within the European Union, and that kind of job opportunity comes about, they're less likely to employ a British person to do that because of the complications of getting visas and so on. And that's another key factor, not only for people that wish to live abroad in Europe or work abroad in Europe, but even if you want to go on holiday in Europe. And let's face it, guys, we're British, we go across to Europe, whether it's Spain, Spanish islands, we go Benidorm, we go Barcelona, we go the south coast of Spain, we go the south coast of France. We love going over to France to go and get our booze and our wine and maybe our cigarettes or whatever it is that takes your fancy. The going over to Greece, the Greek islands, Italy, to Rome, anywhere you want to go in Europe. Do you know how much more difficult it's going to be when we leave Europe? Let alone the extra tariffs you'll have on your phone bills, because we decided to leave the European Union, so therefore we're not part of that agreement, and I'm pretty sure that the mobile operators will capitalise on that fact, because they've currently been forced by the European Union to keep the tariffs down for people within the European Union while they're in those member states. So that's another thing to be considering. They're little things, but they affect you in everyday life and every decision that you make. And don't think that, oh, I just want to go to Europe on holiday. I promise you it's going to cost you a lot more to go outside of Europe, let alone the phone bills, the actual travel costs and everything else. So to be fair, guys, you cut your nose off to spite your face and reduce your ability to be able to go on holiday at least once a year, maybe only just every couple of years to somewhere like the US or something, because the immigration is just as difficult to get into Europe as it would be to get into the USA at current. Think about it. Think about it. Seriously, think about it. Because if you were thinking about maybe going on a quick weekend break to Amsterdam, or you've got a bank holiday weekend coming up and it's cold weather in the UK, you know that already because of the time of year, and you think of having a short stint down to the south of France maybe, or somewhere a bit warmer like the south of Spain, even Italy or a Greek island, or any other member of the European Union, if you like to go skiing regularly and you want to get up into the Alps, you can forget about all that. It's not going to be anywhere near as convenient. It's going to be more expensive. It's going to not only be more expensive in regards to the costs that you'll incur through flights. It's going to be more time consuming for you to get visas and so on to get into those countries. And trust me, if we leave the European Union, politics can be quite gritty, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot more difficult for British citizens to enter any European Union member state. And that's just for your holiday, guys. So there are major, there's much more important issues about all this, and I don't feel like they've been addressed. And I don't understand why no politician has mentioned this little key factor that will affect virtually every single one of you in your in your decision making process about just going on holiday. So, which is a serious thing to consider. But there are, obviously, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the other two key factors which have been argued over and postulated over in this debate, which is the political powers within our country and the economy. And not just the economy, but obviously the finances that we give to Europe. So they will be reviewed in later videos. I just wanted to focus this first video on the immigration, which seems to be the main reason why most people are voting to leave the European Union without actually considering all the facts. I could put a whole load of links with a lot of data, but if you seriously wanted to know about this stuff, you can go and look for yourself. I will put that one link I did mention. I hope this has been a little bit informative and a little bit insightful, and I really do hope you can find the time to repost this and share it with your friends, and I hope it gives you a little bit more food for thought from a different perspective, from an individual within the country, not somebody famous, not somebody who has a political agenda of any kind. I'm just a working class man who has very little myself and has a little bit of an experience of the world, and would like to share that with all of you, and my genuine fear of what will happen to this nation, this beautiful nation of ours, if we were to leave the European Union. And trust me, it will not be pretty for any of us.